do you ever look back and say, I miss living with Broden, Travis's cameraman? Hey everyone, Travis Gafford here. I am at a very different location than I normally am at, and I'm joined right now by Bischu, and he's also at a different location than where I've interviewed him in the past. Bischu, it's so good to see you. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I mean, today we won against like the best team in the league, so pretty excited about that. I got a little too excited actually.
Yeah, do you think that's because I'm here that I allowed you guys to have the huge upset?
I'm sure it helped. But I think it was like, to be honest, our team like played so well. It was pretty nuts. But of course, you helped. I was like, I wanted to show how how we play, in the Overwatch League, just for you.
Good. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was told this was a pretty big upset. That those guys, I knew that obviously Excelsior was so good. That's sort of been the story that I've heard coming out of Overwatch League. But I mean, what was this like for the team, for you guys? What do you think of it?
Well, I mean, I think okay, today was a little bit weird because we always have like a warm-up game before we actually play, but it canceled today, and I'm not saying we lost the first two maps just because we didn't have practice. I'm just saying, but like they are a really strong team. They even like, no matter what the meta is, they've always like came out strong. But I think with this like huge meta shift in stage 4, I think like three teams that picked things up were like Dallas Fuel, us, and the LA Valiant. But I don't know how to explain it, but like I think all teams can, like, more or less every single team can like beat every other team right now. It's so tight. And I think, and to be honest, I didn't really expect to win tonight. I mean, we were really well prepared for it, and also as long I'm sure like Overwatch League fans will know, but recently we had another or off tank player come in, Void, and that allowed us to like split maps up, and I can just like focus on learning the one map exactly. And it's I don't know, people. I've read some comments saying that, oh, Void, Bischu's not getting playtime, blah blah blah. But it's like something I also asked for, just because like from stage 1, I was always talking about, okay, if you get like 2 players, I can literally just focus on like few maps that we play, and then I can just play a lot more confidently and better. And that's been helping me a lot. Obviously, Hanamura didn't work out too well, but Gibraltar, I popped off. Like, I was so confident playing because like I reviewed. I didn't have like much to review, right? I just have to focus on one map, or 1 or 2 maps. So I just felt really confident, and I think everyone else was really confident too. That played a huge role. And I think that was what the upset was.
Well, congratulations on the win. The main thing I wanted to talk to you about over this is like, I'm coming to Overwatch League. Obviously, I am more of the League of Legends background. So for me, a lot of today is just kind of learning about the differences and comparing, contrasting. And one of my favorite stories to come out of Overwatch League is that I knew you for a very long time. You had really great moments in League, but never were really able to make it consistently onto an NALCS team. And now here you are, like having big moments like the one you had today. So what's been going on with you? Like, what has this whole experience been like for you, kind of coming over to Overwatch?
So yeah, I mean, when I wanted to get into League seriously, I guess I made a lot of mistakes where I mean, I think because I made a lot of mistakes when I was trying to be a pro in League, I was able to become an Overwatch pro relatively easily, because I knew what not to do, basically. And I think I was like a little bit too content with just like how things were in League. I wasn't like really desperate enough. I didn't like spend a lot of my own time trying to like learn and how to get better, how to like criticize myself. Like I always knew about it, but it was like hard to apply it, especially when I was younger. But mistakes were made, and I learned a lot from it. And I think so when Overwatch first came out, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go pro, because this was right after I stopped playing League. And I was like, oh, what do I do? But I started playing Overwatch for fun. But I saw a lot of potential in the esports scene, just because like, I think people will really like this. It relies a lot on teamwork and communication, and I think there are a lot of talented players out there. And it's like I thought it was like a good investment to really try to go into pro. And it involved me using all my savings from League and streaming and all that stuff, but I made it. It was a little close.
Well, I'm super happy to see you have the success. What are some of the differences? Like, what because it does feel like a very distinct and different league from
yeah.
from a lot of the other esports that I've seen. So what have been your experiences here?
Well, I knew LCS when it first started. Like, do you remember the first janky studio?
Yes.
I was like scared when I was getting taken there in a van, but no, I've seen it from like ground up, I guess. But so one interesting thing was that Overwatch League just kind of was just like it started off like so huge compared to League, so I wasn't really used to.
materialized.
I was like, well, okay, where did this come from? But I was like, I really want to make it now, and so it's interesting, and it's more. I don't want to say it's more professional than League because like League has like a long lineage of like just like a competitive player just like grinding and grinding, and just like everyone's competing against like all the high tier players who's been around the scene for so long. But this isn't really the case, right? It's just like such a big league, and sure there were like pros before, but it's like the pro scene hasn't really been around for a while, and then it was just like it just wasn't like well funded before.
Sure.
So I think everyone took a while to get used to how big this Overwatch League was, and I thought that was really cool. I felt like people of like pros of Overwatch League were a little bit not they just like have it better. I don't think they sometimes realize how you know what they do. They were playing Overwatch League before Overwatch League too, but it was just like I felt like League people things were just like way more competitive. But I mean that's not to say that Overwatch League isn't competitive. Like every single team can beat each other right now, in my opinion. But it's just like the biggest difference is I guess the Overwatch League just kind of started off so strong, where League just kind of gradually got bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and you were able to enter in from the start. What's it like for the experiencing the community? Because the community is also very different in different ways. I don't know how you feel about like the Overwatch League community.
Well, Overwatch League community is everyone's like obviously like League doesn't have voice chat, right? So that could cause like some discord between teammates, but at the same time it really encourages like high level of teamwork, and that's just something that was like a huge appeal to me compared to League.
Well, what about like besides in game? I mean, like there's all the fans out there, right? Like one of the things that I've noticed in following Overwatch League, somewhat tangentially, is that there is a lot of people that are like, I'm a fan of LA, I'm a fan of SF. Like there are all these viewing parties around, and I think Overwatch League is the first league to really try to base these teams out of a specific location. I don't know what your experience has been like. Maybe it's different because you're in LA and you got the LA side. Maybe like I don't know if Reddit is any different than the League of Legends subreddit, but I don't know.
I mean, I think I was really lucky to be in one of the LA teams because every stage we have Battle of LA, right? LA versus LA, and it's not even on the weekend. It's like a weekday, and the whole stage is just packed, and everyone's. That's another different thing about League fans to Overwatch fans, that they're like diehard fans. Like they kind of came out from nowhere, but like everyone's like it feels like they've been fans for like 10 years, and that hype and like the energy that goes into those kind of games is just amazing. Obviously, all the players kind of forget about it once they put their headsets on, but just walking out and then just getting on the stage, just listening to everyone just screaming, and it's just feels really good. Obviously, like I'm sure you've seen like San Francisco meetups, New York meetups. They're huge too. It's I think what they did with localization was like a really good move, because people just became like way like diehard fans compared to just like regular fans, I guess.
Yeah, is it the localization that's made everyone so hardcore?
I think it's also the localization, and Overwatch tends to like they really try to include everyone, and because like the way they do things, some people maybe will be like, oh, like they're like sometimes Overwatch is too nice, Blizzard is too nice, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it's just like way better to include everyone.
I think when you say include everyone, what do you mean?
It's basically I don't know. I think like League fans were a little bit more competitive, and what was it? I think like when I read our Discord, the fans are like just really nice to each other. And I'm just like, this is different. I mean, I like the League fan base too. It's like very, very entertaining, but it's also like nice seeing a different split side of coin where everyone's like really positive and like just really positive.
That's cool. That is really cool to hear. I don't want to keep you too long, but one of the biggest changes I've noticed is that your hair is way longer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you want
I'm loving
yeah,
this.
what inspired that?
Okay, I'm just gonna be completely honest. Like at first, it was just like my hair was just getting long. I was like, it's kind of getting long, but I was getting lazy. If I wanted to go get a haircut, it's like a 40-minute drive, and then it will have to be I don't want to waste my precious off day on that. And then it got a little too long, and I kind of started telling myself that I'm just doing this to stand out. I'm just like, there's like so many Korean players, I gotta stand out somehow. Sure. So let's just say that's the reason, and not because I was lazy.
You also injured yourself before this interview. Do you want to explain what happened there?
It was nothing too interesting, but obviously we took that reverse sweep against New York. Yeah. And watching that from the side, I got a little too excited, and I was flailing my arm around, and it happened to meet an unfortunate sharp corner of a table. But this is worth. I was so happy.
The passion brought injury. Okay, final thing here. You work with the Gliders. You live with those guys, and you're sort of a part of that. You're part of Overwatch League. Do you ever look back and say, I miss living with Broden, Travis's cameraman, which is a true story. You guys actually live together, yes?
Yeah, for a short while, but even though the league scene didn't really work out for me, and I happened to go through a lot of bumps, I still met a lot of people that I really like, and the experience is something unforgettable. Again, like I said, I wouldn't be the player today
if it wasn't for Broden.
If it wasn't for Broden and Travis and the league community overall, and I'm just really happy to given this another chance.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you so much, Bischu, for the interview. It's so cool to see you. I legitimately,
it's been so long.
I know. I was very excited about coming to interview you, and Broden was as well as soon as he found out. So
4 or 5 years ago, I actually slept in Travis's place because I was visiting LA, and Travis was nice enough to actually let me stay over. And I just made a lot of great memories, and I just want to thank you too for helping me out.
Yeah, no worries. I'm super glad to see you have the success, because I always wanted to see you're such a nice guy. I always wanted to see you have the success in the LCS, and so now seeing you here at Overwatch League, hurting yourself because your team is doing so well, it's very good. So thanks so much, Bischu. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel.